Thank you all for coming. We're going to leave the doors slightly ajar in case anyone else is going to join us, but thank you all for coming along, and thank you for coming across town. A few people have said the traffic was quite bad. I just want to do a bit of housekeeping. We've got just about an hour in the space, and then there will be a very brief opportunity to talk to our guests if you've got any questions at the end of the session. I have got a roaming mic in case we want to have a bit of a conversation and Q&A at the end. We are being filmed and broadcast live, so if any of you have urges to turn around and wave frantically at those watching, do so now. And please, if you have got your mobiles on, can you just make sure that they're on silent? And I'm not sure, Kath, is there a register? Okay, so... Okay, great. So welcome to Nottingham Contemporary and to the space. And a huge thanks to Emma Moore for hosting us and making this happen today for Nottingham Trent Uni. We're delighted you invited us back after last year. And it's really important, I think, when Kath kindly invited me to repeat this session, it was really important that it took place here. And that it also gave you an opportunity to look around the exhibition and to start to explore the city. And, most importantly, that you've got an opportunity to meet leading industry figures and the organisations that they work for and that they're representing here today. So, I want to encourage you all to think about the synergy that's needed as MA students between you as NTU students and how you are going to function and work in the world that we reside in. To provide some facts about the impact that last year's talk had, as a result of it, there were 30 students who then volunteered or interned at the different organisations with various mentoring schemes, and there were some students whose business plans were then supported. So it's a really amazing opportunity, and I can't say thank you enough to those of you who've kindly given your time to come and talk to the students today. It's really, really valuable that this opportunity takes place and that you really do welcome that, and please do give thanks as well later on by saying hello, and do make yourself known. I want to encourage you to start to contextualise your MA, both within the local and the global context. Too often we forget our starting positions. You're located in the heart of the city of Nottingham, and within that city you are a school of art and design and the built environment. So what do we mean by artistic research and professional practice when we use those terms? Well, to try to give it a bit of a case study, I'll use myself. So my name is Rhiannon Jones. I'm an academic working at NTU in the School of Art and Design. I supervise on the MA programme, but I'm a curator of socially and a socially engaged practitioner when I can remember. I have a formal background and training in theatre and live art practice, and I work and I live in the city of Nottingham, balancing both my academic world and my professional practice world. I'm co-founder of In Dialogue, which is an international symposium for artists and researchers, and resident artist at Primary. It's really important, I think, to state that, because it shows that the balance does happen. It's not unusual. Everybody has many hats. You have to. And it's important that you recognise your roles and your functions within the School of Trent and in the city. It's a fantastic opportunity that you've got during the MA to get involved. Postgraduate study is about supporting the next set of ideas and methods in particular disciplines. NTU staff provide a huge wealth of knowledge And NTU has a range of resources to provide an environment that is conducive to making a rich research environment where the courses and students develop the agendas as to where the creative industries and intellectual debates might go next. And that's in your hands, which is exciting. We've got a high retention of graduates who live and work in this city and who do that whilst undertaking MA studies, who work professionally and continue to do so after they graduate. We've got a great example of this with our very own Matthew Chesney, Director of Backlit, who's going to talk to you in a bit. He, as a graduate of NTU, set up Backlit, which is now a great art venue supporting graduates and artists living and working in the city. So what do we mean by professional? The definition, it's a decision to acquire and exude knowledge and skills in a chosen field. It's the capacity to reflect on action. It's about a defining characteristic that you create yourself through your professionalist approach, your networking skills that you develop, and the way that you live and work within your environment and locally. So, we are located right now at Nottingham Contemporary. When it was designed, one inspiration was the surrounding lace market, specifically the bold, elegant design of the warehouses that serviced the city's world-famous trade in the 19th century. Artists' uses of raw former warehouse spaces were also an inspiration for some of its internal spaces. Its irregular structure was created by maximising the use of the available land. The fabric of the city is steeped, literally and metaphorically, in rich creative histories, and it's diverse. In this image, you can see the very fabric of lace is in the building. It echoes a history in its design. It's embedded in this city, in the history, in the contemporary, in the now. Nottingham's history is built upon passion for long-standing and highly respected trajectories of design and manufacturing. It's etched all over the city. Another example is the Adams Building, now home to Nottingham College. Its rounded walls were designed to allow more light for the workers. Not only was it about what was being produced within the building, but it was about how the act of making affected society and economy and design innovation. So what's a city? Well, a city by definition is a population. It's a commerce and a culture of significant size and importance. John Berger, in Ways of Seeing, stated that every city has a sex and an age which have nothing to do with demography. Rome is feminine. London is a teenager. And this hasn't changed since the times of Charles Dickens. And Paris, he says, I believe, is a man in his 20s in love with an older woman. So how would you describe the city of Nottingham? What is it to you, and how does it affect your modes of research and inquiry on your MA? Berger also went on to describe when we see a landscape, we situate ourselves in it. If you actively situate yourself within this city, what richness can it give your research, your networking? What opportunities can you develop? How can it enhance a career for you? And what can you give this city back in return? Nottingham is a creative city, and it now has a dedicated creative quarter, which Kathy, who is also here to talk to you later. It's a city which is described often as a cultural ecology, and by this it's the understanding of human adaptations to social and physical environments. Human adaptation that refers to both the biological and cultural processes that enable a population to survive, to reproduce within a given changing environment. You're all sat here today because you wanted to come along to this talk, because you've decided to embark on a new journey, an MA. It's unknown to you, but you are in the driver's seat of your MA. It will be challenging, and so it should be. in order to hold up the use of the language master of a subject. As researchers, we define the act of research by a definition of a means of systematic investigation into something to pose new thinking, new designs, new ideas, new work. An MA is an opportunity to test out those ideas, to explore, to fail, to test, to succeed, to embrace the unexpected, even if perhaps the unexpected is a letter that comes through the door from a mystery sender.
The things are just completely random. E.T., a car, something to wash your pots with. There's no message who they come from. And then the absolute key point is that they never, ever are in a box. I've always had this reputation for being interested in toys, objects, beautiful things, kitsch things. What's so amazing about this stuff I get sent is it's like it's completely unsung hero. It's just somebody who's doing something which is massively creative, but nobody knows about it. It's just a joy to have mystery. Thank goodness for that, I'd say.
Thank you, Jim. So that was a very short extract from a film. There's a longer version, if you're intrigued, of about 10 minutes by Ben Wigley, who found out that Paul Smith had a mystery sender who used to send objects and letters to him. And he used that as a way of inspiration, and I really recommend that you have a look at it. I think the key message there is the idea of the unexpected, the idea of the unplanned, and the idea of travel, exploration, and map making. Nottingham is your map. It's your opportunity to mark your territory academically, socially, practically, financially, or politically. They used to have on maps the words, "Here be dragons." Dragons often, we know, are referred to the idea of danger, but in map making, they were a sign of unexplored territories. I just want to leave that hanging in the air for a moment, because that is what the MA is for you. And I would like to propose that you all be that dragon, that you go investigate, inquire, discover. Let Nottingham be an unknown map, a blank canvas. When you're carrying out your research, perhaps reflect upon the words of Matthew Goolish from Goat Island, who writes, "Some words speak of events, other words, events make us speak." Whether it is an event or a moment or a fleeting thought in a notebook or a reflective journal that you produce, or a sketchbook or a dissertation or a fabric or a performance, it's about you finding your voice and a voice for your work. Allow yourself to fail and succeed. Allow yourself to research, to be creative, and remember you are in an art school. Find the event that Matthew Goolish refers to, where some words speak of events, other words, events make us speak. Let your MA be that event that makes you speak. So be in conversation, whether with yourself, your peers, your supervisors, your cohort, your colleagues. Be in the city, create a space between you and other. Write, reflect, listen, absorb, and enjoy it. Research and practice is a pluralistic activity. One fuels the other. They can work in parallel. They can work simultaneously. But you are in the driving seat, and that's what's exciting about it. Take the time to speak to other professionals, to find out about industry, to develop a mode of inquiry that absorbs you into opportunities, where you make them and you take them. You never know what might come out of being brave, or by being that mystery stranger, or by being the stranger that you force another mystery upon. And someone who isn't a stranger to Nottingham, and someone who is a fantastic representative for the creative industries in this city, and I'm delighted that she's been able to join us, is Cathy McArdle, who the Creative Quarter is a one-stop shop for art, theatre, entertainment, plus business events, networking and meetups. Cathy is Chief Operating Officer, and I'm delighted that she's here to speak with you. Please, Cathy, come to the floor. Just leave that up, is that okay?
Yeah, that's beautiful. The Creative Quarter is the place in which we sit today. Nottingham Contemporary is located in what the City Council called the Creative Quarter back in 2012. And back in 2012, the City Council drew a red line around an area and designated it a Creative Quarter, and lots of people in that area kicked up and rebelled against the title. And so when I came into the role of Chief Executive Officer of the Creative Quarter Company, one of the things we had to do was to kind of understand how that Creative Quarter title and designation could have meaning for the businesses and the artists and the people and who lived and worked in that area and in the rest of the city. So if you know Nottingham, you know that the Creative Quarter area has three key areas. It has the Lace Market, which Rhiannon has talked a little bit about previously, and we're in the heart of the Lace Market now. It has Hockley, which is the city's kind of primary independent and retail shopping district. But it also has Sneinton Market, which is the old wholesale fruit and vegetable market, which is currently being turned into creative workspace for people who will work in the creative industries. And the thing that I came to understand was that, that this has actually didn't start being a Creative Quarter back in the summer of 2012. It had always been a creative place. It's a very ancient part of Nottingham. The core of Nottingham City, the fortress where Nottingham started as a city, is built in this part of Nottingham, and it's built on the old ancient cliff. And subsequent kind of layers of history have been kind of layered on top of that cliff. So that, for example, St. Mary's Church, was mentioned. I don't know if any of you know St. Mary's Church, beautiful old church just at the end of this street, was actually named in the Domesday Book. And the industrial changes, and this used to be a whole area of market gardens and beautiful ornamental gardens and townhouses. So it was a place where food was grown. And with the onslaught of the Industrial Revolution, that kind of creative impulse really took flight. This was the area that was the home for Arkwright's very first mill. The lace-making industry, the commercial lace-making industry, was born here, and Nottingham was the global hub of that lace-making industry. Jessie Booth's first shop, which led to the Booths Corporation, was literally about 200 yards away. And Paul Smith's first shop was literally just across the road. So it has always been a place where art and design and commerce and entrepreneurship have been at the heart of the life of the city. So the Creative Quarter has a very strong heritage and a very strong lineage. And it has some brilliant assets. One of them is Nottingham Contemporary, with its fantastic programme of international calibre exhibitions. It has a fantastic art cinema in Broadway, which many of you will be familiar with. It has BioCity, which is a really interesting, manifestation of that creativity, because that's a place which is all about finding new creative ways to manage healthcare and manage our own lifespan in the future. And it also has Confetti Media Group and Knots TV. So it is a creative quarter that has its very own, growing television station, which is only the 5th local television station to be developed in the UK. So you are in a fantastic creative area that really welcomes artists, creative thinkers, creative practitioners of all disciplines and all persuasions. And I think that gives you a really interesting landscape and canvas to explore and to play with when you're thinking about your MA and your own practice. And it's also an area of fantastic opportunity. There are brilliant networks, there are talks, there are pechakuchas, there are seminars, there are get-togethers, there are meetups for people who are interested in science, book clubs, there are tech meetups, there's a hack space, there's a fantastic kind of array of artists' collectives in this area, like Bohunk Institute, like Backlit, like Surface Gallery. There's exhibitions, there's there are films. There's so much to kind of sample and get to know and understand and be a part of in this area. But I would also say that, while there's an awful lot here to consume, I think what's most interesting is that it provides you with an opportunity to initiate and to shape and to act upon your environment. And one of the things that we are trying to encourage in this area is that, people who have an idea try and make it happen. So see yourselves not just as researchers or professional practitioners, but as enterprising people who may decide to have a pop-up market, who may decide to take over an empty building, who may decide to initiate a particular focus or a particular inquiry that might take you down all kinds of interesting avenues. And I think that kind of positions you in the now, but it also, connects you to the past and the rich history of this place, which isn't to be taken for granted. It is there to be interrogated and tested for its value and its meaning. So I would see you as people who can test and interrogate the past, who can kind of live in and interrogate and play in the present, but also as individuals and practitioners who are shaping the future. And you are shaping not only your own future and not only the future of the institution, but you're also shaping, the future of the city and the future of what this city is going to be. And I think that's a very, very rich and kind of dense place to be. So I would urge you to look out for all the opportunities in this area, sign up for every newsletter, check out all the websites, try new things. Your learning journey starts here, as Rhiannon has said. Ask questions, be really, really curious. Check out all the venues and spaces, even if you don't think you like them, because it is about being brave and taking interesting steps. And take part in the discourse. Don't sit back. Throw yourselves in, immerse yourselves in a really creative city and a really creative environment and see where it takes you. Rhiannon talked about a couple of really important things. One was the permission to fail, which is an inherent part of every artistic practice. And I think an inherent part of living as well. And that's really important. Embrace mystery. Follow the serendipitous moment or the serendipitous thing, because the thing that happens that's serendipitous is usually, your subconscious telling you that there's an interesting path to follow and that there's something to be curious about, whether in relation to people or materials or theme or subject or form. And I think, enjoy the unexplored territories. I think, remember, the city is an unexplored space for some of you in many ways. This creative quarter is probably, you know, an unexplored territory as well. But the greatest unexplored territory that you learn most about is yourself.
Thank you, Kathy. We're going to take questions at the end, so if anybody has any questions for Kathy, please just jot them down and don't lose those, and we'll come back at the end with questions. I'd like to now ask Matthew Chesney, Director of Backlit, to come to the floor. Matthew is an artist and a curator in Nottingham. Since July 2008, he has been directing and programming an independent art space, Backlit. As a fine art practitioner, his work is based around performance, video and sculpture, looking at themes of people and technology. He's worked internationally on projects and residencies that he's had have been in Japan, Germany and the UK. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really glad to be here, actually, guys. I'm going to say, "Hey up." If you don't know what that means, it means hello in Nottingham. Yeah, so basically, I'm going to tell you a bit about Backlit and how you guys can get involved, because there's great opportunities for you within the organisation, and hopefully you can contact me after and find out more about them. So, Backlit, ta-da, is a two-storey independent art gallery. It's in the east side of Nottingham, as Kathy mentioned, in the Creative Quarter. We're really happy to be there. It's a really vibrant part of the city. And it was founded in 2008 by myself and some graduates from Nottingham Trent University in fine art. And since then, we've been really committed to providing affordable studio space for graduates, emerging artists, and international touring practitioners. We have quite a diverse programme of public talks and international artists. We've got workshops, screenings, live debates and critical sessions, and you're all invited to take part in these events, and they're significantly funded by the Arts Council, so we're really happy about that. We also work quite closely with the university. Being that we're graduates, we also have quite a strong connection with the regional universities and trying to help develop artist practice at very different kind of levels and entry points. Like I mentioned before, it's 2008, so we've been going for 6 years now, which is quite a long time for a small arts organisation to keep persevering. But we think we've sustained ourselves by providing quite a dynamic programme of activity. We've got an artist studios, a gallery space, and also more recently a learning programme. So, firstly, to our studio members, we've got 28 studio members, of which 90% of them are actually graduates from Nottingham Trent University. We've had people from MA and BA level that are wanting to go out into the city, test out their practice, and kind of test out their business models and the ideas that they had during their MA, and really start to kind of initiate them across the city. So I definitely think we're almost like definitely a place to go, like a laboratory. You know, you can finish your MA and think, now what? We'll come to Backlit and we can help you get your ideas off the ground. For example, at the moment we've got two recent graduates from photography that are taking part in an internship, and that's in partnership with Santander and the Hive Business School. And they're learning a lot about how to manage and help support us as a small organisation. So, like I say, it's really worth linking yourselves to small organisations to get the most out of your careers post graduating. We also provide associate memberships, so if you didn't really want to have a studio space, you can still get involved in the critical sessions, the workshops, the talks, by just subscribing, you know, a small amount of money every month to be part of our kind of our creative community that we have within the building. So here's the gallery. As you can see here, we've had an Arts Council funded exhibition for the last 18 months. We've been running some really interesting exhibitions that mix together international artists, local artists, studio members and national artists. So we're really mixing everything up here. It's quite experimental. We've had international artists. We like to show, you know, works across the world, and we also significantly won a big competition last year for Museums at Night. It's a national competition to get a big high-profile artist such as Matt Collishaw, who's from Nottingham actually, to come back to the city and to do an event with a small organisation. So that was great. We've also We also can offer private hire. So if you guys have any ideas of any exhibitions or projects you want to run, if you send us proposals to info@backlit.org.uk, we'll definitely consider them and help you kind of understand your idea and see if we can make it happen as an event. We also recently have a learning program, so we have workshops, we do lots of community-based projects, and we like to engage young people where we can. So if any of you guys have kind of, learning and engagement kind of projects you're interested in telling us about, please let us know. It'd be interested to hear about them. And then finally, oh, that's not me, sorry. Sorry. We support artistic research, and we really are interested in getting involved with more students because, like I say, it's quite scary, like Rhiannon said, and Kathy, being on this journey, but it's also the best place to be in. And I suppose really we come into, more towards when you leave the course and you're really wanting to apply your knowledge across the city. I think we're an organisation that can really help you. So, yeah, please do get in contact and let me know what you're thinking. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. And I just wanted to add as well that the studio members, it's diverse in practice. So it's theatre makers, it's ceramicists, it's fashion designers. I mean, we have catwalks there. There's all sorts of different types of practices that take place. So do get in touch. And Backlit is a resource. So please do make yourself known. I think last year you had 10 students that then started working and being supported by Backlit. So take that opportunity. I now am delighted to invite Roshni and also Beth, who's come along. Beth is the creative programming assistant at New Art Exchange and also coordinates all the volunteers at the New Art Exchange, and she's been in that role since April. And Roshni is producer of programs for New Art Exchange, and I've had the good fortune of working closely with Roshni with my own personal project called Wonderland, which was a 16-month project that we did at New Art Exchange. So I know they're a fantastic team of people that work there, and again, they're a brilliant organisation, and I'm going to let them tell you all about it. So thank you.
Well, thanks Rhiannon for inviting and arranging this, and I'm really happy to speak to all the MA students personally because I came to Nottingham all the way from India to do my MA. That was 5 years ago, and I've kind of stayed on since because Nottingham is a real retainer of students who study here, both BA and MA. So it's really nice to speak to you because I think I can relate to the journeys that you're going to take. So I work currently as the producer of programs and experimental, and I'll talk about what experimental means. But just to give you an idea of what New Art Exchange is and where we're located, I thought is important. Like I said, Nottingham, like Rhiannon and Kathy have kind of explained, it's a very vibrant city. It's also a very diverse city. We've got this creative quarter right in the heart of the city, but there's kind of there are lots of other places within the city that's equally vibrant and creative and very diverse. So if you go slightly away from the creative quarter, take the tram, go up past Nottingham Trent, and kind of down to Forest Fields. That's literally 2 stops away in the tram stop. There's this other area called Hyson Green Forest Fields. It has it has a big student population as well. I've always lived there. And it's also a very, very diverse locality. Kind of just walking down the roads of Radford and Alfreton, it's not very far away from primary, which I'm sure you'll be hearing about more from Michelle. And kind of the history of that space is also very creative, and the kind of New Art Exchange is an art gallery that was kind of really born from within that community. And I think in the 80s, there was a growing confidence in artists from diverse backgrounds to really come together to organize art exhibitions, events. And there was a building where the current building is located called the Art Exchange. And there were various different organizations housed within that building. And two of that, one called Apna Arts, that looked at South Asian culture and were pioneering in arranging the South Asian Festival Mela, and looked at South Asian arts, culture, and artists from that background. And there was another organization called EMACA that looked at African Caribbean artists, assisted in getting those artists from that background together in exhibiting, in applying for funding. And these two organizations really came together, and they formed New Art Exchange, and they were successful in a capital funding bid that enabled them to have the building and the resources. So we kind of really have come from that space and that locality around there. So what do we do today? We have this really amazing building, which I don't have a picture of the building, but the images I have of is some of the things that we do there. It is a contemporary art space primarily that instigates new perspectives in what diversity means in art, but also in society. And we do that through a range of exhibitions. We have exhibition spaces for internationally reputed artists. We have spaces for mid-career emerging artists, and we have spaces to exhibit artwork created from the community or from very emerging local artists as well. So there's a whole range of artists that we engage with. I'll move on. This is an example. Actually, this is a photo of a person in Spark Hill, but it's an image by a photographer we're currently working with called Mahtab Hussain. He is kind of based, he's doing a residency for 5 months with us and spending just time on the streets of Nottingham, of Forest Fields and Hyson Green, just our neighbourhood, literally just talking to people on the streets to understand their stories, who they are, where they come from, what their aspirations are. And he's creating this body of work in that space that will be shown in the main gallery in Jan. So that's the kind of work that we want to engage with, which is both intellectually challenging as well as engaging, and I think that's the crux of what we do. So we do that through exhibitions, but we also do that through public program, which I look at the public program as an interpretation layer of the main gallery exhibition. So we usually have a season that focuses on one thing that the main gallery, either a theme or a debate or a question or an idea that the main gallery is addressing, and kind of interpret in various ways to engage wider people that would usually not engage with contemporary art. And so we have, accompanying an exhibition, we have a program of academic talks, lectures, film screenings, live music, festivals, a food program in our cafe. So kind of we try to create different avenues for people to engage with contemporary art who would otherwise feel that contemporary art is not for them, or they feel that is not something they can get involved with. So the public program kind of has a main focus of creating those avenues to engage with more people. So this is an example of the kind of live music events we have. So it's quite a vibrant place. And of course, the music and the festivals is also as diverse as as the communities within our locality, and as rich as those communities are. Just want to maybe talk a bit about what's coming up and how we would want you guys to really be involved in, but Beth will also talk about that. Currently, we're looking at the politics of hair. We've got a main gallery exhibition around, it's photographs of Nigerian hairstyles by a Nigerian photographer. And accompanying that, we've commissioned a local art photographer called Ben Harriott to photograph people and spaces and the environment within barbershops within our neighborhood. Because hairstyling or barbershop salons are more than just a place where you get to get groomed. You also talk about things, you chat, you exchange ideas. So kind of really capturing the essence of what that is. So through the public program, we've got some really nice panel discussions and film screenings that really try to address, understand the politics of how one appears, how one's identity is informed by how one appears. So we've got some programs, so I would love to see all of you kind of being engaged with that. But specifically on the thing it said, I'm the producer of Program and Experimental. So Experimental is our program for providing professional development opportunity for artists. And we do that through providing mentoring and a space for them to experiment with their practice. So it's kind of really open. There's no application process. It's a flexible program that is tailored to the need of each artist, and we kind of work with them through conversation and trying to understand what their practice needs, what they're really trying to experiment with, and how we can mentor that process. So there is that opportunity for all of you as well. So if you feel that's relevant, come and have a chat with me. But we'll briefly talk about the other opportunities that we have for you to get directly involved. So do get in touch.
Okay, so hi. I don't have any slides because I'm a bit of a kind of last minute add-in, really. As Renan said, I'm the volunteer coordinator, and when Roshni said she was going to come and talk to you, I thought, I've got to come down and introduce myself, so I'm not just an email address, but also meet you guys and see you guys, although I can't see you at all at the moment, which is a bit strange. So I wanted to come and talk to you because, I am the volunteer coordinator, and I'm really passionate about volunteering. I've been doing my job since April, as Rian has said, and I started as a volunteer. I then was offered an internship, and I was then offered a job. So, there's that really obvious networking kind of job opportunity element to volunteering. But also, I volunteered during my MA, which I did at University of Nottingham, and I did that part-time because I wanted to use my time, the rest of my time when I wasn't working, a job to kind of volunteer with lots of different organisations, and it was an amazing experience, from really good opportunities to kind of even the awkward moments when I didn't know what I was doing. They helped me develop my thought process, they helped me kind of develop my practice and my writing, and it was all opportunities to meet people, not just to network, but to meet people and kind of grow my own personal opinions. So we've got really good opportunities for volunteers at New Art Exchange. You can help out with every element of the programme that Roshni was talking about. We're really open. We kind of don't have a cap on the numbers that we kind of want. We just want everyone to get involved. We've currently got a couple of people, and they stick really specifically to the family events team, or they stick really specifically to the music scheme. So if you're interested in something, it's a really good way of trying out all these different elements or really focusing in your time. So do get in touch and come and chat with me afterwards if you're interested. We've also got, so we have this kind of bigger structure of exhibitions in our main gallery and our mezzanine gallery, but we've also got something called the Central Gallery, which is something that you guys can definitely get involved with. It's a much more fluid space. The kind of exhibition times aren't quite as long, but it's also kind of the planning time isn't as long. So we're always looking for proposals and suggestions for new exhibitions from people such as yourselves, from local artist groups, collectives. We've currently got a Polish archive exhibition in there. So it's a space within our building that is a little bit more experimental. It's a way of really connecting with the local community and connecting kind of really quickly with the local kind of creative atmosphere that we've got in the space. So yeah, do come and talk to us afterwards, and do get in touch if you'd like to get involved. Thanks.
Thank you. there's nothing else I can say really about that other than it really hammers home to me the richness of this city, and also the fact that primary research, spaces to get involved, if there's artists that you want to shadow, if there's exhibitions you want to try and be involved in, really think about how you can cleverly work with the different organisations and take up these opportunities that they work really hard to put in place for you guys to be able to approach them and have, you know, it's not easy to run these schemes that they're kind of putting together on a day-to-day basis. So do reach out and take those opportunities up so that those opportunities continue to exist at those organisations. Primary is the next organisation that's going to be spoken about today, which is led by the tireless efforts of Development Director Michelle Bowen. She has worked across the visual arts for over 18 years in both public and private sectors, including Director of Oxford Gallery and posts at Craft Council and Arts Council England. She also works freelance and has undertaken numerous contracts, including coordinating the launch of British Art Show 7 in Nottingham, retail development for the heritage sector, and business and market development for a range of cultural organisations. I'm going to draw breath and hand over.
Thank you.
Ooh.
There you go. Okay, well, hello. I'm really would like to thank Rhiannon for the invitation to come and speak to you all today. So I hope what I will cover you will find interesting, and I hope to see you all at Primary in the coming weeks. So to kick off, obviously I'm Michelle, I'm the Development Director of Primary. Primary is the newest venue in Nottingham visual arts landscape. We are an artist-led organisation, just over 2.5 years old. And you can find us, we're situated just past Canning Circus off the Ilkeston Road, as Rosny said, quite close to New Art Exchange. So you'll see from our mission statement that we don't just want to be another studio complex, but we have bigger aspirations for ourselves. We currently support 30 artists and artist groups at Primary, and our selected resident artists represent a breadth of practice and quality of work alongside a range, an active commitment to contemporary art practice. The people who are based with us range from a new NTU recent graduates collective called HUT to more established figures such as Elena Popova and Frank Abbott. And this is a sort of little wee picture of everybody, not quite everybody, but quite a lot of them. We take a holistic view to supporting the visual arts. We have a resident cook. We support writers and designers, and everybody who's based with us has a desire to make a contribution to the artistic culture of the building. So we even have babies, you see, that's quite good, isn't it? Cradle to grave support at Primary. This is a little picture of one of the studios. This studio belongs to Nadeem Chowdhury, a Nottingham artist who graduated in textiles at Goldsmith, returned to Nottingham and has since been developing his textile-orientated art practice, has been at Primary since we opened. He's got a massive 2-site show up at the Asia Triennial in Manchester, but also a bit closer to home, you can catch his big hairy balls, which will be on show at New College Nottingham in November. So I think a chance not to be missed there, I feel. So alongside our artists, we run a programme of events and talks and performances about the artists who are based at Primary, but also the artists that we invite in. I brought a lot of programme notes which tells you all about what we're doing, which are over on the table over there. But our programme launched in May this year with the artist Jonathan Baldock. Jonathan undertook a period in residency to create a new sculptural installation with us. He used the former school hall at Primary as a space for production, and experimented with the very high vaulted rooms that we have there to make a kind of series of striking new works. And at the preview, it was an opportunity, and once-in-a-lifetime opportunity indeed, to see the installation inhabited as a performance where he worked with the choreographer Florence Peake and animated and created a kind of an object which you could walk and talk around and step inside using the performance. So currently we have a show by Edwin Burdis, who has been experimenting with a series of paintings and sculptures and sound. The space has these kind of two imposing sentinels, which are really rich and embedded with kind of popular culture images and what saturates us in our world today. And he's presenting this kind of installation alongside a new soundtrack which he's developed specifically for this piece of work. The show is open until November the 1st. We're open Thursdays to Saturdays at 12 till 6. I thought it would be worth just noting, I know we've been picking up on it as well as we've been going through the talks, but the Nottingham is a very collaborative working city. We don't work in isolation. We work with my partners in the new Midland Group. Here we all are, having our lovely little picture, pretending we like each other. No, we do really. Which is backlit Thoresby Street and obviously Primary. But obviously with all the different groups, we work with people like Dance 4 or the Playhouse, lots of different organisations who come together, cross-collaborate, support and work. And I think it's quite worth noting that, because it's one of the few cities that I think that kind of really works in and really happens. So, you might come in and work with Rosny at New Art Exchange, but find yourself at Primary or doing something at Backlit and then at a Creative Quarters. So, it really all kind of intermingles. One of the key things the new Midland Group is working on is, we're really, really hoping, subject to funding, that Nottingham will play host to Blomberg New Contemporaries next year. This is a big, significant project, national show, which features the very best emerging artists in fine art. So if you graduated in 2014, and applied, you're selected, then you get to be presented in New Contemporaries in 2015. They always have a regional show, and they always show at the ICA in London. And this year will be the first year it comes to Nottingham. But it'll be the very first year that this show is shown in non-white wall spaces. So the content of the show will be split across Primary and Backlit and Thoresby Street. So this is going to be a big, big city event. So lots of ways in which you can get involved and obviously help us kind of bring this amazing thing to the city, this amazing show. Part of this will be around that we'll be using New Contemporaries as a catalyst for talent development in the city. One of the ways we want to look at is with our three partners and anybody else who'd like to be involved to run a citywide associate artist scheme. So again, it might be something that we come back to you and talk to you about and gain your feelings and thoughts about how that might work for you. So just here's a bit about how to get in touch. As everybody said, we're always keen for supporters. I've got a cook at Primary. We do really nice food. We always get some good wine as well. So I'm just saying, no pressure. Come to Primary. Hope you can come visit. And it was really nice to talk to you tonight. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Michelle. I'm now going to ask Emma Moore to come to the floor. Last but by no means least, Emma looks after public programmes for Nottingham Contemporary, and she is also a fellow resident artist at Primary, along we share a studio. And so she's got a huge responsibility for running the public programmes here, and it's a delight for me to ask you to just get an opportunity to say a few words about that. Thank you, Emma.
Thanks, Rhiannon. And thank you all for coming along to Nottingham Contemporary today. It's very nice to be asked to speak to you about what we do here at Nottingham Contemporary. And also just to pick up on what Michelle said, while I'm not from NTU or University or Nottingham or have come all the way from India, came much further from Dublin, but Nottingham is a very easy city to get involved with what's going on, and I found it almost instantly very easy to meet people, to get involved with what was going on in the art scene, and it's very exciting. There's always lots happening, so yes, I would encourage you to start straight away. Welcome to Nottingham Contemporary. My name is Emma Moore and I'm the Assistant Curator of the Public Programme here. So just to tell you a little bit about the Contemporary and what we do, we hold 4 seasons of exhibitions a year, ranging from dynamic 2-person shows, such as our current exhibitions by Raphael Hefty and Agnieszka Polska. This is a still from her film I Am the Mouth, which hopefully some of you got to see earlier. But also to large thematic group exhibitions. This is quite a striking image from the Universal Addressability of Dumb Things, which was curated by Mark Leckie and shown last year. Or to more recently, this is an installation shot from Somewhat Abstract. That's a Raphael Hefty piece there on the left, which looked at the many interesting facets and understandings of abstractions through artist practice. So as well as the exhibition programme, we also run a public programme in tandem with the shows. And the programme here comprises discursive events, film screenings, reading groups, gallery tours, temporary installations and live performance, and is one of the most extensive events programmes in the country, which is quite nice to be able to boast about. Here is an image of the graphic novelist Alan Moore, who some of you might know, and his lovely wife Melinda Gebby, speaking to a full house here in the space about their work and new projects. So this series runs over the course of the exhibition and extends often on strange and interesting tangents from themes raised in the shows. But beyond lots of events that happen in the space, we also get out into the city, and this is a photograph from a very cold night last winter in the Park Tunnel, which was a sound performance, and there was a number of artists from Nottingham, but also invited artists from London who performed in the tunnel on a very chilly evening. But beyond the event series, we're also dedicated to encouraging and supporting academic and artistic research, collaborating with students from both universities on making that research accessible and public. Our website holds a vast sea of information and recordings from all of our past events, and has become a library that we would encourage all students to use. You'll find a lot of information there. Search back through all of our past events, and I'm sure there's plenty of things that you will find of interest. And this ambitious programme of events is only made possible through the very strong partnership that exists between Nottingham Contemporary and the city's 2 universities, University of Nottingham and Nottingham Trent University. And also this is what enables us to offer all of our events for free. So students like yourselves are encouraged to attend the events here and to see what happens as an extension of their course, in the hope that topics raised will fuel your own research interests and ideas. And this is an image from the Memory Project, which we ran earlier this year. And this was a collaboration with the MA Fine Art at Nottingham Trent University. And what we asked the students to do was to reflect on 2 exhibitions which had just closed, which was by Tala Madani and Marvin Gaye Chetwynd, but to look at these exhibitions through their own practice. And then the works that they produced were displayed in the building while the exhibitions upstairs were in changeover. So this was a really interesting way for us to work with the students at NTU, providing tutorials and developing how the project was going, and then actually installing the works here in somewhat more incidental spaces around the building. So this was a sound piece by a student called Marie Royston Ward, and if you kind of came up to the window, it was audible, basically. It acted almost like an amplifier, the window. And he had recorded various different sounds relating to the Marvin Gaye Chetwynd exhibition. So we also offer placements or internships within different departments in the organisation, And this gives students the opportunity to gain experience working with the exhibitions team or with the public programme team, which is just me at the moment. But this will give you a glimpse into the working processes of working within a major UK arts institution. So yeah, that's just a very brief synopsis on what we do here. There's so much, or a lot more that goes on, including all of our learning events, different activities. There's always something going on within the building, and you'll find everything on our website, but also in one of these. There's a lot of them on your seats, and also next to the primary and New Art Exchange brochures on the table over there, so do grab one on your way out, and hopefully see you all back here again for many of the events that are coming up over the next few months. So thank you.
Thanks, Emma. And I know Kathy's had to leave already, but I just wanted to say very briefly a huge thank you to you all for coming along today, and real heartfelt thanks from me to Beth, Roshni, Michelle, Matt, Emma for talking today. It's invaluable, and I really do hope that you are inundated with phone calls and knocks on the door tomorrow. And all this information will be on now. Contact details will also be on now. And if you have any questions, please do grab them before they leave. One word that Kathy said that I jotted down that really stands out for me is the word initiate. Be enterprising individuals, and think back to some of the things I said at the start about here be dragons. How will you be active, and how will you turn Nottingham from a map into a canvas for yourself, for your professional practice and development? Thank you. Over to you to talk. Does anyone have any questions?
Of Nottingham Trent University and the MA cohort, I'd like to say thank you. That was really inspiring, your talk, Rhiannon, and everybody's was. And I'm only sorry there aren't more students here, but hopefully they're all watching online.
If anyone wants to ask a question one-on-one, that's absolutely fine. I know that we're kind of overrunning a little bit. If you've got to go, that's fine. All the information will be on now. Please do help yourself to the literature. And then I think I'm going to stop talking now so that you can all talk to one another. Thank you.